FileSnatch has a capability to run through the command line, and this is really set up for people to do backups and archiving. So the term backup we're going to use in terms of every week or every day or however often you set it, that you take files from one place and put them in kind of like a storage or something like that. But it's always the same place. You can overwrite if you want, or you can just, all the new files get put in there. Archiving, when we say that, we're referring to taking those same files that you want to back up, but now putting them into separate folders. So each time you create a new folder with those files so that you have different folders for those different times. Now, how do you do that? First thing you want to do is have a command prompt, and you should be able to just type in CMD in your search button at the bottom of Windows, and there should be a command prompt that comes up. And if you just type in FileSnatch CMD, there it just pops up. So it's already there and available to you. Now, to use the actual backup utility or the archive, you're going to work with Task Scheduler to set that up. So Windows has a basic task scheduler you can do, and we're just going to show you on how to do it. But first, what I'd like to do is show you these manually and then scheduling them. And to do this, unfortunately, you have to have the full version of FileSnatch because you need the save and load command. So what I'm going to try to do is our basic formula here of what we've used in our other videos, the good old music soundtracks. We'll put 3 here too, so we know where we're going. In fact, let's just delete this just so we know it's definitely going to go there. And then we can bring up FileSnatch. Now, you do have to bring up FileSnatch once on its own. Actually, let's do that through the command line again. As you can see, it says folders to get, and put 3 is here. I don't know. Let's go ahead and let's do everything but move files and overwrite files, because you tend to want to overwrite with the newer files anyways. And then we're going to save this. So let's save this, and let's save this to a unique name. I was going to call it backup. In fact, I ran it once using backup, but let's call it my backup, just to make it distinct. And I'll explain why in a second, and I'll hit save. Exit out of that, and let's start clean. So let me delete where we're putting it, and we'll bring up a new CMD, and we'll do FileSnatch CMD, and then my backup. And what this will do is run it to completion, and you'll see that we have copied as if we hit the run button ourselves. Now, the other way you can do it is, I'm going to exit out of this, and now I'm going to do FileSnatch, same thing, my back, and then I'm going to put the word archive at the end. And this is going to do the same thing, but remember how we defined archive versus backup. Backup's just going to go to that same spot. Now we're going to create a new folder, and it's going to look a little odd at first because it's not going to say one bought. Those numbers correspond to a date, so you can see 2025 there, 3/6. And the reason we do it is because with backups, we weren't worried about stepping on the toes of the last backup because we're going to the same spot. But now, when we say to put it there, This put 3, you could think of this as the top of the hierarchy where we're going to put the rest of the files. So it's going to be the main parent folder. And then it's going to drop it into this folder, but it's going to be the same exact contents. So you're going to be able to see all your files there. Because if we run it again, just to make the point, I'll just do FileSnatch. It's going to run it one more time, and you're going to see how you get 2 folders, 2 distinct folders with 2 different date and time settings. And that's if you want to do it manually. Now here's the rub. We want to do this automatically, and the way we're going to do it is through the task scheduler, which is a Windows. In fact, let's clear out of this a little bit. I'm going to clear out of all this. I'll keep these up, or I'll minimize these out of here. And we'll have just a fresh floor, and we're going to use a Windows product that comes with your PC. I'm going to type in task, and you should see scheduler. It might be task manager, but you can type out the whole task schedule if you want, but this is it right here. I'm clicking on it, and you will see to the right, there's multiple ways to do this, but the easiest way I think is just to hit create task. And we're going to give it a name and call it FS for FileSnatch Archive. What you see here on the bottom is up to you when to run it and when not to. What we'll be more worried about is the triggers and the actions. The conditions, again, and the settings are up to you and how you want to do it. We're going to go to the Actions tab first, and we'll do a new action. And you'll see Start a Program. That's exactly what we want. And we have a program script. Now, here's the rub. This is going to be a long address. Now, you probably got this from the Microsoft Store, so what it's going to do is it's going to set this up in your users folder. So you're going to get, and so it's so long that I printed it out in Word. So you're going to have a users folder probably on your C drive, your local name, app data. The rest is all the same here. App data, local, Microsoft, Windows, apps. And then you'll see, remember, the FileSnatch CMD, but now you're going to put a .exe at the end. So the only thing that should be different on yours is this part. And now, do you want to type this all in? Nah, go ahead and find this on your PC. So I'll bring it up on mine. So here's that exact piece. You'll see the Windows apps. Make sure when you look for it, you turn hidden items on, because it's under it's app data is a hidden folder. And here's my CMD. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click this little folder in the top left. It's going to give that full length, except for the FileSnatch. That's okay. That part we can type in, right? And I am going to put it in here. And I am going to do the slash the exact way I see it up there, and do FileSnatch cmd.exe. Now here I'm going to worry about case sensitivity, but it should match the same exact thing as you see here. FileSnatch cmd.exe. Of course, you can copy and paste that just as well, that ending, and I'll make sure you see these EDA. Once you see that, now in the add arguments, that just means those 2 words that we put after FileSnatch cmd in our command line. We're going to do my backup, same exact thing, and archive. And go ahead and click OK. And that should be enough to run it. However, now we got to tell it when to run it. So let's create a new one, a new trigger, as it's easy to see. Here I'm going to just do one time because it's a demonstration. If you want to do it weekly, daily, monthly, it's all right here. Go ahead and click that. I'm also going to not force you to watch too much, so I'm going to say as soon as 214, actually we'll do 215 hits, then we're going to run it, and that should be all you need to do. I'm going to click OK, and it'll OK again, and hopefully we beat the 215 second, and you should see it down here, the FS archive going to 215 today, just once. So when 215 hits, and I might have to time delay this a little bit, there you go. It comes up, it does it, and it'll leave that up so that you know that it worked. And now let's look at our results. And as you can see now, we have a new one, and here's the new one. So it created that new folder. And as you can see, like I said, it happened at 2:15. So it fired correctly. Once again, you can set this. You can do a backup at this time. You can do a archive at this time. You can do these weekly, monthly, daily, as much as you see fit. You just have to turn those knobs in this task scheduler. The one thing I will suggest or will point out is that these 3 radio buttons become important. In our case, we don't have to worry about it since we're archiving. It's going to create a new folder. But if you're doing a backup, you should be very thoughtful in what you want to do. So in other words, if you're creating new files all the time with the same name, you're going to want to overwrite. If you don't create a lot of new ones, you might want to do the skip version just to make it a lot faster. So in other words, if they're the same exact file, then might as well just skip it. No point in saving it. We're going to eventually put a date in there. As of right now, nobody's really asked for it. So if you do want it, remember, you can go to the feedback and tell me on our Facebook page. That would be nice. If not, if it doesn't bother you, obviously don't worry about it. The last thing is the make copies. That is your fail-safe. The problem is if you're doing backup with makeup copies and you do this on a recurrent schedule of say like daily, then at the end of the month you're going to have you might have 30 copies of the same file. If you're fine with that, okay. If not, it can lead to a pretty big build up there. Hopefully that makes sense to you and you can get it done. Again, you can always go to the contact page or the Facebook page. If you have any problems, we certainly don't mind walking you through this. Thank you. Goodbye.